Good morning, everyone. Just gonna wait for you guys to tune in. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Facebook. How's everyone doing today? Jean Hudson, Louis, Jean. Good morning, K Barrett. Good morning. Good morning. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Lady Fab, hello. Good morning, Sexy Sure. Sassy Smeo, good morning. Herkel, good morning. Emak, BZ, good morning. How's everyone doing? Sassy Smeo, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Um, Today I'm just going to probably just do questions. I don't have any topic today. Um, you know, if this is your first time tuning in, my name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration lawyer here in the United States. I'm local to Atlanta, Georgia, but I present clients all over the United States. So if you have an immigration matter related to family, humanitarian based removals, we can assist you with that. Okay. Oh, 6969. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Good morning, Fred, hair technician. Good morning, Michibu. Good morning. I know I saw a question here. Fred says, I'm seeking a partner, girlfriend, roommate, lover, free rent, many benefits, respect and happiness, love awaits. This is an immigration page. So, well, maybe someone will see you here and slide into your DM, but this is completely an immigration page. But someone says, I'm married to a U.S. citizen. After VAWA, people are getting work permits and travel documents together. I'm not sure if I understand your question. Are you asking me that can you get that if you filed for VAWA? If that's what you're asking me, the answer is really going to depend on whether you have an adjustment of status application. So if you have an adjustment of status application, which is an I-485, like if you're eligible to file one at the time you file your VAWA application, yes, you can get a work permit and a travel permit. It doesn't have to come together. Sometimes it'll come as a combination card where the document is in one card, and sometimes it's separate where you get a card that's the work permit and then like a green paper with your picture on it, that's a travel permit. I think yesterday I posted, like, because I was going through some results and I posted what like a travel permit that comes in paper can look like. So it just really depends on when they approve you. And, one or the other is no difference, the exact same thing. Good morning, King Adeyanju. Karen, good morning. Michibu, thank you so much. I'm Maxine, good morning. Our 797 form was supposed to be sent to NVC. It's been over 3 months and no communication from anyone. What kind of case do you have? Is it a marriage-based case that was approved that they're sending to the National Visa Center? Is it what is it, like a fiance visa? Is it a family-based case? So, I need a little bit more clarification. And usually sometimes it could take a delay. If you haven't heard anything, you can actually do like an NVC public inquiry just to see where it is. Thank you. Everyone's saying that my hair looks lovely today. Thank you so much. And I'm going to have to save this so I can show it to my daughters who are like big time haters and hate my hair. But so thank you. I appreciate that. But your kids, they're always trying to play you. Okay. Do you think they will have a review of the ban list by 90 days, which is March, April? My country is not working well with the USA. Okola Cassia, honestly, I don't know. They did say that they will review it every 6 months. So I don't know about 90 days. But it would be great if they do. And for those who don't know, he's talking about the ban list of countries outside of the United States. That they are stopping from getting visas into the United States, because I want to make sure that that is very clear. In the United States, there's not a ban, there's a hold for 90 days. Outside the United States, there is a ban, which they will review, every 6 months. So, honestly, I can't think and I can't speculate. I think that for many of us, whether we're in the field of immigration or just bystanders, a lot of things in this administration have been very unpredictable. So I cannot predict anything. It's literally on a day by day, what is new today. So, but as soon as something comes up, I will definitely let you know. John says, biometrics is taking forever. What's going to happen? I'm not sure what you mean. You haven't been scheduled for biometrics, or what do you mean? I don't understand what you mean. Janice, thank you so much. I really appreciate all the lovely compliments today. Is VAWA applicants outside the country affected by the immigrant visa pause? If you are outside the country and you are part of the countries outside of the United States that have a pause, because there's a pause and there's also a ban. So, it depends on what it is or where you fall under, honestly. So this is going to be a little bit complicated. I'm going to try and see how I can simplify it for you. So if you're outside the country and you file for VAWA, I will be curious, and you're one of the countries that has a pause based on public charge and not a ban, because remember, a pause is different from a ban. The pause is so that they can create a new process for public charge, because they believe that people from these 75 countries have a high likelihood of being part of receiving public assistance here in the United States. I do beg to differ, though, because that is not true, at least in my practice. They're very, 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 like, I can count them in my hands, and we have dealt with thousands of cases, people that do take public benefits, from these countries. Number one, most of the people from these countries just want to work, and have a job and not be a burden to anybody else, But to go back to your question, VAWA applications are not subject to the public charge. Now, that said, I don't know how they're going to apply that, from a consular process perspective, but that would be a typical case to do a mandamus for, like file a lawsuit about, because if they are pausing because of public charge, where you have to submit, financial affidavit of support, show this, and that, technically, if you are a VAWA applicant that is applying from outside of the United States, you're not subject to the public charge. So technically, you should be exempt from that. But then again, the problem, that I think most of us are having with this new administration is, like, they're making this random rules or random laws without clarity, that until it presents itself, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So in that scenario, it would be we don't have, like, I think, like, all our international VAWA cases, funny enough, are from clients who are in the countries that are not banned, like Italy, or like Korea or Japan, like where U.S. military, most of ours are like U.S. military people, where they so those countries are not banned, basically, or they don't have a pause. So I will be curious to see how they will apply it there, but VAWA is not subject to public charge. So if their whole idea of pausing the 75 countries is because they want to create a public charge process, which has always been there, and it should really be done case by case, we'll see. But as you guys know, there has been a lawsuit filed. I feel very hopeful about the lawsuit. I'm reading what the claims are in the lawsuit, because this has always been a thing. Public charge has always been a thing. When you do interview people, you have to interview people based on their own personal individual self. You cannot punish a whole country of people based on one person taking a public benefit or whatever it is. So I'm hopeful, that the lawsuit will yield some positive results. And, when we find out, I will let you know. Katrina says, is it safe to go to the courthouse to apply for a marriage license? Why wouldn't you go to a courthouse to file for a marriage license? Please go to the courthouse and file for a marriage license. Princess Abigail, how are you? I'm working now as a nurse because of God and you. I love you. I honestly, every time I see Princess Abigail, it brings joy to me. And I'm so happy, to hear that, and I have a client that I was speaking to. I know you're on the live too, who I know is going through her nursing thing. And I hope that she also has the same outcome as you, getting her green card and, building a life here. Again, as I always say, it's a scary time, but guys, she can attest to how scary and terrifying things were when she first came around, or people that were here in the first Trump administration, and where she is now in her life. So I continue to say, quiet the noise, quiet the news, because it's not sustainable from a human perspective to allow yourself to live in that level of anxiety. Many people, I talked about this yesterday and I'm talking about it again today, just because I don't know who was on the live yesterday versus today. Many people who get apprehended or picked up by ICE, like for detention, most of those people are going to be people who had, at least, again, I keep talking about my practice because I can't speak about anybody's practice. It is people who have traffic infractions. If you're driving your car, going about your business, there's no probable cause to stop you. You're not like driving through a border if you're driving your car normally. But if you give them probable cause, meaning you're driving over the speed limit, you have a broken tail light, you're not trafficating, basically you're violating a traffic rule, you can end up finding one of those cops who's very motivated to say, okay, you did this, what's your status? You don't have one. All right, I'm sending you to ICE. As I keep saying, of the 5 people that have been detained with really good cases that were detained from our practice, 3 of them were related to traffic infractions. The other 2 committed a crime, actually. So again, just, go about your life and just be law abiding, really, if you don't have an order of removal, you shouldn't have any problem, going to the courthouse to go get your marriage license. Okay. Is it safe to travel domestically with a prima facie determination letter? I would not. A prima facie determination letter, unless you are part of one of the states that allows you to get a driver's license. If you're not, I would wait till you get your EAD and your driver's license. There used to be a time, and honestly, I just don't remember. There's just too much new rules that I can't fit everything in my head unless the situation presents itself where I have to go look, because there's just a lot in my head. Like where Florida, for instance, and Texas used to be states where with the prima facie determination letter, you could get your driver's license. I know that Texas, maybe like 30 days ago, just came up with some new DMV rules for, immigrants. So you can check to see. I just haven't gotten around to checking because, the DMV is not really in the scope of work that I do. Maybe I'll check when I have time. The problem is I don't have any time. Maybe I'll check when I have time so I can at least give you guys some states that I know of. So I would wait till you have a driver's license or your work permit. Okay. I applied to I-751 jointly and it's still pending. I just got my divorce decree. Do I need to send the new I-751 waiver and more proof? How do I notify immigration of divorce? Teddy, this is very important. And anyone that's on here, who filed a joint filing and now you're divorced and your case is pending, you're just kind of like, oh, well, let me see if they will approve me without scheduling for an interview. Don't do that. You immediately want to notify them of the divorce. Because remember, you can be eligible for a waiver of divorce as long as you can show that you did have a genuine good faith marriage. So I don't know what evidence you sent for your good faith marriage, Teddy. And so I can't tell you what proof to send. I'm happy to have a consultation with you to go over how we would amend your file, because you got to be very careful when you're requesting a waiver, because if you don't meet the elements of the waiver, you could get denied. So it's not just as simple as sending a divorce decree. Now, if you were like filing for abuse and you've already gone through all those grounds of why your marriage was not working or is not working, and you're just adding the divorce decree where you're not necessarily seeking a waiver, it's different. But with a waiver, there's a lot of legal minutia. So you definitely want to have someone who knows what they're doing address that. Princess, I'm scared to travel to see my mom in Mexico, even though I have my 10-year green card. Girl, you better travel and go see your mom and have fun, and when you come back, send us pictures. I know your immigration history, and I can tell you that you're safe to travel. So you can go and enjoy yourself. Okay, good morning. I'm married, but I've been separated since 2021. I have an I-751 and an N-400 pending. I'm about to file my taxes. Is it okay to keep filing married but filing separately or filing single? If you're not single, you shouldn't be filing single. So that should, let you know what you need to do. I came in 2019 and I overstayed my visa. I got married to a US citizen. I got my green card. I've applied for removal through abuse. I have my extension letter. I want to travel to my home country. They say for me, I have no criminal record. Without knowing anything else, there shouldn't be anything since you filed for a waiver, since your filing was a waiver based on extreme cruelty, you should be able to travel and come back fine. Okay. What's the VAWA timeline in 2026? It's February 11th. So really, I don't know, still expect 3 to 3.5 years. It's still really early in the year. And, there's just been a lot of moving and shifting and changes for me to really give you like a predictable date. So once we start seeing some pull in, I'll tell you guys kind of like what dates we're seeing. And in terms of processing, but fully expect 3 to 3.5 years. Okay. All right, 1 second. Okay. Someone says that I missed my visa payment date window and my portal hasn't been reopened since 2023. It's an immigration visa I was going for. Honestly, I'm amazing doing from your name. It sounds like you're Nigerian. Right now, there is, of course, that ban if you're outside of the United States trying to consular process. So I'm not really sure it'll be helpful for you. But one thing you can do is you can try to use the Visa Navigate, the Visa Navigator. I'll tell you, though, that Nigeria is not very good. The Nigerian consulate is not very good about communication. But that would be the first place that I would start. I'm letting them know that you weren't able to pay that. And if they'll open it, but 2023 is a long time. I highly doubt it. You usually have a window. I was truthful about working under the table for VAWA. What is the consequences of this on the long run with this administration? As of right now, there is no consequence. If you work under the table or you worked for cash and you're not eligible to work and you filed for a marriage-based case because you were married to a US citizen only, or if you fall under VAWA, it's never a good idea to lie about that because lying about that is what gets you in trouble. Just be truthful. 90% of people work under the table. USCIS knows that. And that's why they make that exception. The key, though, is that you never claim that you were a US citizen. You never falsely put any document or information saying that you're a US citizen to get that job. As long as you don't do that, it will be forgiven if you are a VAWA applicant or if you are married to a US citizen, okay? And good for you for being truthful. Because honestly, when I see, it's funny because sometimes people or immigrants or applicants, want to say things about the legal help or people to help them, or, they didn't tell me this or whatever it is, which sometimes can be true. But I can't tell you how many times, people are not honest about their immigration history and they just feel like somehow nobody will find out or that, things will just go well. When you speak with the lawyer, it is important for you to be honest, because if there is a resolution, that is the only way we can help you with the resolution. But what happens when you double down and lie about something and we're finding out after the fact, you've got on an interview, sometimes at the interview where you're just like, oh, hell no, or you're getting a request for, evidence or annoyed about like something they did like 20 years ago, or like a B1, B2 application where they had like a phantom divorce or phantom marriage. Phantom marriage means a non-existent marriage. Like, it's horrible, it's horrible. And, these are the cases that make it difficult for people from those countries to have solid cases that want to be honest and request waivers. Is it that people make mistakes, or that mistakes don't happen? Mistakes happen. People do things that they're sorry for and know they shouldn't have done those things, right? So it's important to be upfront so that if there is a waiver means a way to ask for forgiveness or to ask for a bypass of what you did, then that will be presented. Because when you try to present a waiver based on a willful misrepresentation after they've called you out on it and you've doubled down on the lie, it's harder for them to believe you that you're really sorry about that or you're really going to have it. But, from the beginning, it's like, you know what? I didn't know what I was doing. I had someone doing this for me. I'm sorry now that I know better, now that I've spoken with a lawyer and I know I shouldn't have done that, so it's just really important that you're truthful in your applications. Amri said, I see sometimes that people only get work permits, and do people get travel documents? I'm assuming, I feel like you're the one who asked a question about the VAWA case, I think. Yeah, people get travel permits all the time, every single day. Scroll through our timeline, we post that. But yeah, if you applied for a work permit through VAWA because you were married to a U.S. citizen who was abusive, you are eligible for a travel permit. Now, let's say, you really need to travel and they haven't approved your travel permit. You can request an emergency travel permit. We do it for clients all the time. And, with that, it's usually if it's like 15 days within your travel date, and then you do an info pass and you're just going to the office. You gather all the evidence of why you need to travel, and they'll tell you either they're going to give you an emergency one or no, we're not going to give you an emergency one. All right. I did my VAWA fingerprint like 4 days ago. When should I expect a prima facie determination? The prima facie determination is not connected to a VAWA application, to a fingerprint at all. Prima facie determination is connected to the application you submitted and if they feel that you've met the minimum standards of pre-approval, okay? My aunt came here from the border, Mexico. She has a daughter that has become a U.S. citizen, but scared to apply for her. What can she do? She's Haitian. Well, she can she can adjust her status. She cannot adjust her status if she came through the border. So if she came through the border, the only thing that she'll be eligible for right now with her daughter is an I-130. If the I-130 is approved, the normal process is a 601A waiver. If the 601A waiver is approved, then she would have to consular process. Having said that, your aunt is not really in an ideal place right now because of basically the U.S. Embassy in Haiti is basically closed. That's number one. Haiti is one of the countries under the ban list. Number two, we are seeing that like countries like Bahamas, where that's where they're doing their so let me give an example, like countries like Bahamas, or like we had this client, Haitian client, relocated to Turks and Caicos, lives in Turks and Caicos, but is a Haitian, but got scheduled because Bahamas is where you go do your consular interview, being denied for a Bahamian visa because of I don't know why they were denied. So basically they couldn't do the interview because they can't even get to Bahamas. So unfortunately, your aunt is not in an ideal situation right now. I wouldn't apply. I wouldn't apply right now because she crossed the border and she has no way of potentially going back and doing her consular case based on where she is from. The only thing I would say is, the only thing I would ask is this: does she have TPS? If she has TPS, one of the things you can do with TPS, because right now, TPS, obviously they've kind of like extended TPS, and we're just waiting for the appeals. So they extended TPS because it was supposed to expire on February 3rd for Haitians. They've extended it. The lawsuit basically said, we're going to keep them on TPS unless you can prove that the country conditions have changed. If your aunt is on TPS and she has a travel permit, right? The only way for her to basically fix her status to be able to adjust here is to travel outside of the US, not necessarily to Haiti, maybe to Mexico or another country, and come back if she has a travel permit. Or you said she doesn't have TPS. Her daughter will never be able to give her a green card. Not right now. She can, but it is too risky. She could be detained. She could be detained because she crossed the border. And if she's detained because she crossed the border, there's no bond. So she will have to stay in detention. So no, not right now. In a different administration, yeah, many administrations we could have done the 601A waiver, even in the first Trump administration. But right now, it's too risky, unless you had a child who's a U.S. citizen over the age of 21 that lived with her and it's abusive to her. That would be the only way for her to stay here and fix her status. Yeah, there's such a high penalty, for people who cross the border, I took my son from Jamaica because he was abused by his father's wife. Ooh, I'm so sorry about that. He's 21 years old and I'm a green card holder. How can I help him get a work permit and a green card? You cannot help him get a work permit. You are a green card holder. The only thing you can do right now is you can file an I-130 for him. But similar to that situation, is out of status, so he's going to have to do a 601A waiver. But again, Jamaica is one of those countries with a pause outside of the U.S. So you guys are in a very, very precarious situation right now. So right now, you just want to hold steady if he's here in the U.S. Okay. Let's see. I went for my I-485 interview, and it's been 6 months already. I-130 was approved, requested for my FOIA, and it shows it was approved in November with card data showing, but my online shows pending. I'm not sure what question you're asking me. My vow is pending and I got ticketed on company's property. Should I get a lawyer? Well, it depends. I don't know what kind of ticket you got. Is it, did you commit a crime, trespassing? What is it? I don't know what it is. I sent my 485 and 765 for vow from last June all now. I don't get it. Until now, I don't have any receipt. It's very frustrating. There's still a few people that are in this situation who send your files to Lincoln, Nebraska. So I would say this is a good time to do an inquiry. And if they still don't have that file, they still haven't received it in 30 days, you might want to just refile, which sucks because you got to go get a new medical, and passports, or sometimes it might be a duplicate, but first do an inquiry to see where your file is. Okay. I filed for VAL with adjustment on September 10th, and USCIS sent a receipt. Then on September 25th, they confirmed receipt of the case. I've not received anything since then. That's normal. September was just 4 months ago. VAL cases take 3 years to 3.5 years. So you are still very much in a normal processing time. Sorry, I'm just looking for questions that make sense. I filed for a family-based adjustment last year, November, and no feedback yet. How do I get any information of my application? Country of citizenship has no pause. You literally just filed it in November, meaning November is yesterday. Of course, you don't have anything yet. It takes time. For most people, It takes almost a year before they call you for an interview and make a decision. Now, are there unicorns? Do we have unicorns here too? Yeah, there's some people that they get their interview within like 2-3 months, but that's not normal. You're in a normal process in time. November was just yesterday. So you're doing okay. All right, guys, I got to jump off. If you want to schedule a consultation, call us 407-995-6567. Also, you can call 678-325-1037. And our WhatsApp to send a message is 404-333-8751. If you didn't get the number, it is right there. Scrolling through the ticker on Facebook and YouTube and on Instagram, it's in my profile. So I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week.